What is up, everybody? Welcome in. Welcome to Curiosity Public. It's just me, Dutch, here tonight with a little Friday night live stream, Fresh Crack Friday, but done a little bit differently here today because I've got the newest batch of the G4 Madera, this bad boy right here, batch 3, that I'm going to be cracking into, and we'll talk a little bit about it. And then I'm going to be comparing it to batch 1 over here and batch 2. So figured that would be a fun little comparison. I think I'll just do it blind, pour them and kind of mix them up and just see which one's the best, maybe see what kind of trajectory these flavor profiles are on. And of course, batch 1 here or batch 3 will have a little bit of a disadvantage of being a fresh crack, but we'll try to draw some value from it, hopefully. So going to give a few minutes here for people to trickle into the live stream Friday night. Hopefully everybody's having a good time. It's been a while. It's just been busy. Haven't been able to make the time. And when this Friday seemed like it would work out, nobody else could make it. So I still said, I'm just going to do it, So as you're coming into the chat, drop us a comment, let us know, or let me know what you guys are sipping on, how your week's been. Looking forward to anything for the weekend. Hopefully everybody had a good week and a good Friday and ready for the weekend. So I'm just kind of getting my palate set here with a little Tequila Ocho Blanco. Just kind of getting the tequila flavors popping on my tongue a little bit. Get ready for these G4 Madera bottles. Now at the end of this G4 Madera experiment and blind, I am also going to crack in time, as long as there's time, into this bottle right here, which is the Teralta Anejo. Same distillery, but a slightly different method for this brand, Teralta. And this is the Anejo. And I heard recently that they're going to be kind of discontinuing this line, so I don't know. But if this is amazing, then maybe it could be a good one to stock up on. I don't know. We'll see. So a couple of other announcements too, as people are trickling in here. We are starting to roll out invites for Dylan has decided to name it the Ultimate Spirits Convention, which is going to be our in-person event that's going to be happening in August. I believe the date is August 31st. And it's going to be in Southern California in the about 5 miles from Disneyland. We finally have almost everything ready to go with it. So producers on Patreon have gotten the first round of invites. It's then going to roll out to the rest of Patreon and then over to the YouTube members. And then if there's still spots left, we'll just kind of open it up for any subscribers. We are limited on space, so it is going to be like an invite only thing until we get through all of our members and patrons. So that's coming up. One other announcement, if you're catching this stream and you were on our last live stream, it's been a while, but the last one we did was the fundraiser, and we had, I think, 2 people that never contacted us, never emailed us about, how to send them their bottles. So I think those bottles are still, I think Super Doggo's still holding on to those, but we're going to kind of set a time limit here of maybe within the next week to shoot us an email, info@curiositypublic.com. You've got to email us if you want to claim your bottles, so you know who you are. If you donated and you never watched the end of the stream, go back and watch that. See if your name was called. I don't remember what the names are. I don't have it in front of me. But go check that out because there's 2 bottles there that are still waiting to be sent to their owners. So again, go back, watch that stream, see if you're a winner. If you're a winner, you got to email. You got to send an email. Okay. That seemed like a lot of business. It wasn't really. So people trickling into the chat here. Let me check in real quick. We got Helios F says, I hope the 3rd batch isn't as good as the 1st, so I don't feel bad about not buying it before it's sold out. Tequila Canuck, not drinking tequila, drinking Talisker Surge while watching the Oilers versus the Stars. Muermi, Denor, I don't know how you say it. Greetings from Germany. Just had a G4 Blanco batch 12B. Nice. Marvin's in the house. What's up, Marvin? Glad you could join us. Cash 3 says Bowman Brothers small batch. Great bottle. Daryl G says, sipping Brother Thelonious North Coast Brewing. Nice. And Jamie's got some more info there on Teralta, the house brand. It's not going anywhere. So is it that they're going to stop exporting it? I could have sworn I had heard something about it becoming less available or something. So maybe I'm conflating it with something else. But yeah, I think this is so. I think the difference is mainly that this uses only the deep well water compared to the G4 line, which I think does a blend of both. So will be fun to crack into that after the G4 Madera line that I'm going to be drinking through here. So actually it's not really going to be a drink through. It's going to be a blind. I'm going to blind them. I think that's going to be maybe a little more fun. So, all right. So if you guys want to know anything else about our upcoming event, if anybody's interested in it, you can ask questions here, but also I think we've had 2 podcasts. I don't know if the second one has come out yet, but we've recorded 2 podcasts just kind of talking about what we've been going through, getting everything set up for that, and trying to make it a reality. We're really bad at this kind of stuff. So I'm amazed that we actually finally have it coming together. So Sean's in the house, says, what's up? What up, Dutch? Drinking Cavalon Soloist Sherry. Nice choice there. Yeah, we got a ton of whiskey to get into in the future too. I've got a lot of fresh cracks waiting. I have a bunch of other tequilas as well. So I'm looking forward to doing a few more lives in the coming month. Get some of those fresh cracks opened up, and we got other reviews coming too. We got a lot of tequila stuff coming. I think possibly our next 2. I might sneak a whiskey in between the 2 that I have planned. But our next video will actually be a very interesting tequila blind that involved one of these G4 Madera bottles. And let's just say it was a very interesting blind. And I would recommend if it sounds interesting, if you do watch that video, make sure you watch the after the credits bit, because we have some very interesting realizations at that point, and it has to do with relative flavor and just the way that head-to-heads or side-by-side comparisons can really mess up flavors sometimes. And it was a very interesting moment there where we kind of allowed our palates to kind of reset a bit and then try things again, and had it was interesting. That's all I'll say. Okay, so enough talking. Why don't I open some tequila here? So let's take a quick look at what's up first here. This is the G4 Madera Blanco Batch 3, or I guess they call it Lot 3. And this is the 2024 release. Let's see if we can get this autofocus working. Oh, look at that. G4, 90 proof. And now they are putting a sticker that actually tells you the year. So it's not hard to figure out which batch is which anymore. So the first 2 batches, they just had the lot, they just had like bottle X out of however many. I'll show you that. So here's lot 1. And on the side, you can see there, maybe you can see there, won't focus. Yeah, there we go. So you can see there, it just says bottle number 9151 out of 10,000. So lot 1 was a 10,000 bottle lot. So that's how you know this is from lot 1. There's also some printed, I don't know if that's going to show up on camera, but there's a printed date and information down there at the very bottom. There, you can kind of see it. And that says 2022, 4/5/22. So you know it's the 2022 release, which was lot 1. And then with lot 2, it's the same way you can tell. At the bottom it says 2023. The lot size was 12,096. Now apparently lot 3 is the same lot size, or very close to the same lot size, of around 12,000. And that's a good thing. I mean, it's a lot of bottles of this stuff, and it's been a favorite of ours, so it's nice that they're producing a lot of it. I think they know what they have with it, so it's nice that they're releasing a lot. So, all right, let's get into this. Get this thing opened up here. Of course, always a challenge for me, because this plastic is just shredding. It's not tearing along the perforation, of course. All right, that's good enough. I really like these, rubberized corks, as long as they don't produce any bad smells. And if you I've paid attention to some of our comments about Cascanes. That's been a big problem for Cascanes. Synthetic corks causing some cork taint in certain releases, and haven't noticed it with any others, luckily. It's a really bad problem to have. It's really unfortunate. So lot 3. I'm actually going to pour a little bit extra here and use it for the blind wow. I did spill a lot because I want to let this open up as much as possible. You know, I don't know what it is. I don't know why I'm so bad at pouring. I feel like even when I try to pour carefully, I pour badly. I probably pour better when I'm not trying to pour carefully. So, okay, let's let that sit for just a second. You can see how much I spilled down there. Let this sit for just a second, and I'm gonna check out the chat real quick, see what you guys are up to here. Jeff says, cheers to the weekend, all. 818 Creations is sipping on lot 3 as we speak. Delicious. Also loving Don Vicente Repo. And look at that. Giovanni's sipping on Don Vicente Repo as we speak. So interesting. Kenneth says, hey, Dutch, do you edit the videos? You spoke a lot about the after credits of your next video. Dylan says he doesn't even watch the video, so I know he doesn't edit. He does not edit them. Dylan actually edits our podcasts, believe it or not. I think he mostly has AI do it these days, which is why we sometimes get some aggressive cutting in it, but at least it gets done. So I don't really, I don't mix in. But yeah, I do all the video editing. So I am the bottleneck. Actually, I'm not entirely the bottleneck. Mostly our biggest bottleneck is actually getting all 3 of us together to film. That's just, our scheduling is a nightmare. You know, if you have one person, it's easy. You can just record whenever you want to record. 2 people, it gets twice as hard. 3 people, it's like exponentially more hard, more difficult. And back when we had 4 people in the Bourbon Guild, it was even harder. So, all right, Carlito says, hey, I'm not a tequila guy, but my buddy gave me some Clase Azul Repo for my B-Day last week. I thought it was really dang good. Yeah, I mean, if you like a cocktail, it's good. It's got a lot of added sugar and added flavors to it. And not my jam, but, you know, hey, it can be a gateway. So check out some of our tequila content. And Sean says, funny enough, did a taste-off between G4 Madera Batch 2 versus Fortaleza Blanco. I actually preferred the Madera. I am not surprised by that. I think the Madera is excellent. Joe says, May Gray is keeping me in whiskey mood, not hot enough for tequila yet. Yeah, it has been really, like, kind of cold. Like, I don't know. It's been weird weather down here. 818 says, I'll take Madera over Fortaleza Still Strength. I probably would, too. I mean, I like the Fortaleza Still Strength a lot. I would definitely take it over the regular Blanco, but I'd like to have both the Fortaleza Still Strength and this. What's your opinion on Reposado, says Brian. I always hear that Reposado is the weakest of expressions, and many people go mainly for Blancos and sometimes Añejos. You'll get a weird continuum of answers to that. You have a lot of people who are kind of quote-unquote purists who really say, look, Blanco is what tequila is all about. You're really getting the full expression of the agave here. If you think of a Blanco, and people say, well, it's unaged, so like, what are you really getting? You got to remember that the agave that goes into a quality Blanco has been maturing for 5, 7, 10 years sometimes. So there's a lot of time that goes into a Blanco. The longer it sits in the barrel, those agave flavors can kind of mellow. They can kind of change a little bit. They are very interesting, but you're also going to get the influence of the barrel on the distillate. So it's just kind of, the longer it sits in there, the more barrel influence you're going to have on it. So depending on what you like, you know, there's times when I'm really craving just a straight up Blanco. There's times when I really want a lot of barrel influence, like an extra Añejo or an Añejo. I know a lot of people who feel like Repos are kind of a waste. They only like Blancos and Añejos. I also know some very experienced tequila drinkers who love Repos because they like both ends of the spectrum, and they like having a lot of the characteristics of the Blanco still there, but getting a little touch of what the barrel does to it. So, you know, you got to try them all and just see where you land. And it may change over time too, as you sip more and more things. Carlito says, oh, dang, didn't know that. That stinks to hear. I'll stick to bourbon. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing about bourbon is there's rules and pretty heavily regulated on not allowing additives. Tequila, you know, if you get into it and you start following it, you'll see this whole kind of schism of additive free and, you know, additive laden tequilas. And, you know, there's a lot of drama there. Yeah, Mr. Jolly says Costa as well does the additives pretty well. They do. Same thing with Don Julio, 1942. You know, there are some brands that do a pretty good job with it, you know, and it ends up being a pretty tasty product at the end of the day. But yeah, Vortex is in the house. Says I still need to try the G4. I really enjoyed the Ocho Plata. Yeah, G4 is a good brand. One of the best. Yeah, Joe says I love repos. Don't let Dictator Dylan tell you you can only drink Blancos or Extraños. Yeah, seriously. Vortex says I'm finding that I really enjoy that pure agave flavor more than anything. Yeah, I mean it's these days I'm probably drinking more Blanco than Anejo or Extraños. I don't know why that is. I mean, I do enjoy them all, and I don't know. I've really been loving the Ocho Blanco. Just fantastic stuff. Tony Judy Landy says, "Love G4 Volans Primo. Any chance for a NOM 1579 Blanco drink through?" I mean, a 1579 drink through would be pretty interesting. We did do a G4 drink through back in the day. It was one of our early drink throughs, actually, way before. I feel like before the tequila boom. But it would be fun to kind of do the side by side with some of the other brands. So I've been thinking about that. You know, like a non-specific drink through of just the Blancos. That would be very interesting, just to kind of see just how production and agave selection can kind of affect the flavor and expression. So. Okay, so I poured this a little while ago. It's had a good bit of time to open up here. Let's get it on the nose on the batch 3 here. Whoa. It's really interesting here. It's got almost like a candy nose to it. I mean, just coming off the Ocho that I poured earlier, I'm just going to sniff it back and forth a little bit here. The Ocho's got like a brighter, more citrusy hit to it. The Madera, kind of it's got a little funk to it. I mean, not like I want to say earthiness, but it's not an earthiness. It's like almost a little bit rubbery, but not in like a cork taint kind of way. I'm not doing a good job explaining this. It's warmer. It's weird. So like the high end kind of bright citrusy fruity agave notes aren't really there. It's kind of more of the mid-range, more cooked agave, less bright fruity agave. So it's a richer nose. So it's weird coming off the bright agave. It kind of messes up your nose going into something like this that's got a little bit more of that rich cooked. It's a little bit more of a subtle. It's almost got a bit of like a floral component to it too. Okay, yeah, it's nice. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna go in and take my first sip here. Wow. It's got a little pepper on it. I never trust my first sip though, and now especially coming off of the Ocho, coming to this, I'm gonna take another sip, and then I'm actually gonna come back to it, really let my palate reacclimate. The pepper is really coming through, the pepperiness. It's pretty bright. It's pretty punchy. It's punchier than I would expect. I don't know if that's just the proof difference coming off the Ocho. I'm gonna let it sit for another second. I want to make sure I get all the Ocho out of my palate. I can feel it. It's kind of messing with the flavor a little bit. I'll check in on chat real quick. Any high proof Blanco blind videos in the works? Yes, actually, the one I was just talking about where we had G4 Madera is one of the. items in a blind. It wasn't really a high proof Blanco blind. It was kind of like a special release Blanco blind with, all of them I think were above 80 proof, but they weren't all, it wasn't necessarily like a still strength Blanco blind. So, oh, David, thank you so much for the super chat. David said, is non-chill filter not that important when it comes to tequila? I don't know that I've really seen that labeling. I'd have to think about that. I think it's definitely not as important as whether or not there are additives. I think in general, you're using used barrels, first of all. And second of all, you're not really having them in the barrels as long as, for instance, Scotch tends to be. So I'm not sure there's as much of an impact of that chill filtration would have. I'm sure there's some of those compounds that would come out in chill filtration, but just trying to think if I've actually ever seen like an extra añejo, for instance, that said non-chill filtered. Can't off the top of my head. Maybe somebody in chat knows. But in general, it's not something that you see on the label at all for tequila. At least, I haven't noticed it. And I could just be completely missing it, but I don't really think so. The bigger thing is really additives for people. I think that's kind of what splits the camp more is, did they add artificial sugars? That's very common. Did they add artificial flavors? That's fairly common. Did they add artificial coloring? Not as big of an issue necessarily, but it's a big thing in tequila, and all those things are allowed in tequila. So I think that's the bigger thing than chill filtration. So, but good question. I'm curious to see what chat has to say about that. If anybody in the chat has some thoughts on that. Okay, Vortex says, wait a minute, it's a Blanco, can be aged in Madera barrels. So it's Madera, which I think just means wood. So it's wood fermentation tanks. That's the difference with this. So it just really imparts a really different characteristic to the tequila. But good question. I had the same thought when I first heard about it. I'm like, what is that? What the heck is that? And then I realized, so it's Madera, Madera, which I don't speak much Spanish, but I think that just means wood. So it's the wood fermentation tanks, exclusively using the wood fermentation tanks. Because I think at G4 they have both, or with the regular G4 they kind of blend everything together. And with these, it's only the wood fermentation tanks, and it's bottled at the 90 proof instead of the 80 proof. So, all right, let me give another sip. Let me see how my palate's doing here. Okay, now it's really coming alive. Okay, mouth feels great. It's a nice coating. It's got a little bit of that pepper still. It's a lot more mellowed out now that my palate's calibrated. Finish is nice. It's very inviting. It's maybe a little subtle, but it really lingers. Wow. It's very drinkable. This stuff is so drinkable. I'm going to be in trouble tonight. Yeah, so there's a little bit of pepper still there. There's a little bit of kind of citrus rind, like a little touch of bitterness. Kind of hits towards the beginning of the palate. It fades into the finish. Some more of the sweetness comes through in the finish. Very enjoyable. I don't know where this would rank, just kind of based on my recollection of the other two. I like it a lot. I enjoy sipping this. Quite frankly, I've enjoyed all three. I can tell I'm going to enjoy drinking all three of these. And it's kind of nitpicking, honestly, between them. But hey, we're gonna pick that nit. Okay. Hattori Hanzo's in the house. Yes, but does it ranch water? Yes. Will it highball? That is it would make an excellent ranch water, but I would probably just use the regular Blanco or Repo for my ranch water. I wouldn't do it with the special release, but that's just me. Oh, the nose is really opening up. So it's less of the big, bright, fruity, citrusy agave flavors. It's more cooked. The sugars are a little bit more edging towards like the brown sugars. Not completely brown sugar, but like it's got like a touch of that to it. Interesting. Very interesting. I am now looking forward to this blind I'm going to do. So a couple more questions here, and then I'll get pouring on that, and we'll talk a bit more. Vortex says, is that just different in Mexico because Madera is also a Portuguese? Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's spelled different. There's no I for this. It's just Madera. But I don't speak Portuguese either, so it's probably the same word, I'm guessing, or the same root of some. I don't know, maybe not. I'm always surprised how different some of the words in Portuguese are. Yeah, there you go. I think the coin dropped. Okay, Matt says, hi everyone, late to the show. Any difference between lot 2 and 3? I know lot 1 and 2 were very similar. Well, we're about to find out, Matt. You haven't missed it yet. I just did my fresh crack of lot 3. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to need to pour a little bit more before we do this blind. Might as well just top it off a little bit. And so from my recollection, I remember batch 1 being a little bit of a better mouthfeel and a little bit less peppery. Batch 2 had a little more punch to it, a little more pepper to it. This batch 3, I think, has a bit of that, bit of the mouthfeel of batch 1, but a little bit of this like bitter citrus rind element at the beginning of the palate. That may mellow out as it sits too. But hey, let's see what happens. So I'm going to label these, and then I'm going to spend some time mixing them up and not paying attention to what I'm doing and reading the chat so that I don't know what's what. I'm just going to put it on the bottom here, sticker with, I wrote 1. This is not batch 1. I'm an idiot. I'll put 1 in here. So this will be for batch 1. And this is batch 3. I'll put the correct sticker on the correct. That would have been funny. All right, so batch 3 has a 3 on it. Let me pour batch 1. I labeled these earlier so I wouldn't get them confused. So batch 1 says 1, right? You guys can see that? Barely? Okay. All right. Make sure my levels are about the same. And batch 2. Yeah, batch 2 I've got, I think, a backup of, and I've spent more time on with batch 2, because I think this bottle here is the only bottle of batch 1 we actually got our hands on. So, all right, batch 2. 2, checking. All right. Okay. All right, my levels are pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit of the batch 3 just so I can't tell by the amounts. That's good. All right, so I'm going to pull these over here. I already don't remember which one's which, so I'm going to spend some time mixing them up. Hopefully this is not ridiculously loud and obnoxious on the ears there. All right, I'm going to check in. Oh, it smells so good here. All right, move that to the side. Check in on the chat here. Let these all sit for a minute. Okay, Helios F says, what are some tequilas that made you question whether it's truly additive free or not? For me, Mijenta was one of them. I don't remember thinking that when I tried the Mijenta. I definitely remember, what was it? It's one of the celebrity ones. Somebody I didn't, Codigo. Trying that one and being like, man, are there additives in this? I just can't tell. There was something else. Calle 23, the regular Blanco, was just so sweet. I just, at first, I think I did it even on a live stream. I was like, man, this has got to have added sugars in it. But have it on pretty good authority that they don't use additives. And I've also tried the trick. There's a little trick for artificial sweeteners, is if you dilute it significantly, you will get a bitterness come through. You know, I've tried that with ones that do have additives. I remember I think we tried that with Grand Core Amino, and it just gets really bitter. It's really weird. Like the aspartame or whatever they're using, when it gets more diluted like that, it just kind of, with water, it just kind of gets really weird. And I did try that with the Calle 23 Blanco, and it did not get bitter. So I think it's just a very sweet Blanco, but it just, to me, it just tasted way too sweet, which was weird. But I don't know. I can't think of another one that I've had that somebody has kind of said is additive free, and I tasted it and I'm like, that's not additive free. I really can't think of one. For the most part, I feel like brands that have come out and said they're additive free, or brands that Tequila Matchmaker has done their process on, I feel like for the most part, they all taste that way to me. And in general, I feel like that's the best way to do it anyway, is just to taste them and see what you think. But that's a good question. Curious for the chat to chime in. Okay. All right, Vortex, we got to the bottom of the linguistics issue here. Madera is a region in Portugal. Madera is just wood. Yeah, okay. That's what I had thought, and then you made me start questioning myself. Like, am I wrong about this? All right, Hidori Hanzo says, I'm not sure which batch, but my bottle has a strong, bitter citrus rind that you just described, needs ice for me. So you can tell which batch, if it doesn't say 2024 on it, like the new one does, it's not the batch 3. And between batch 1 and batch 2, if it says it's out of 12,000 something, that's batch 2. If it says it's out of 10,000 bottles, that's batch 1. And then if all else fails, on the back, there's a date code. 2023 is batch 2, 2022 is batch 1. So I felt like an infomercial. Tony says, Magenta is too floral for me, but to each their own. I need to try it again. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's additive free. The one I think I've tried the Blanco and the Anejo. The one that came in the big box. Was that the Anejo or the Repo? I don't remember. I think it was the Anejo. I enjoyed them. Giovanna says, definitely no additives with Magenta. Ana Maria Romero takes great pride with her products. Yeah, it didn't strike me as having additives. All right. I am not sure how this is gonna go. I'm gonna mix them up again. I have no idea what's what still, but I'm gonna just go through on the nose. Maybe I should write some stuff down so I can keep track here. And I'm gonna just see here. So I'll start with glass 1 on my left here. You're right. I'm gonna go this way so I don't accidentally see the number. Oh wow, that's I would describe that as like a luxurious, a very coating, full-bodied aroma. That's really nice. So aroma on bottle 1, glass 1, strong plus for me. All right, glass 2 here. Oh, wow. Way more citrusy, less luxurious, brighter. Very different. Wow. That is a trip. I did not expect it to be. Wow, it's way brighter, more citrusy. Very interesting. So, glass 2. Very good. I think I probably would prefer still glass 1 on it. It's just more impressive to have that kind of enveloping, luxurious aroma. All right, glass 3 here. It has aspects of both. It's got a bit of the richness of glass 1 and a touch of the kind of more citrusy components of glass 2. That's kind of nice. It's like a blend. Very nice. I mean, honestly, they're all very nice noses. I would tend to, I think glass 3 is probably the most interesting nose. Glass 1 might be my favorite on that first aroma. It was just so rich and inviting. I really liked it. Let me give it another. Now, coming off the other two, it does have less going on, but that richness is still in there. It's one of those things where a subtle aspect of this nose is really lost after having this brighter one in the middle, especially. On the nose, I think this is actually batch 3 because I'm getting that slight kind of almost rubbery thing going on. So I'm going to just guess right now that that's batch 3. I'm going to guess that this is batch 1, the kind of more luxurious one. And I'm going to guess, so 1, 2, 3 in order is my guess right now on the nose. But that's, I haven't had batch 1 in a long time, so I really don't remember. All right, I'm going to go in on the palate. Start with glass number 1 here. That I think on the nose is batch 1, but very low confidence level on that. Oh, wow. It's just such a great mouthfeel. Oh, it's got that richness, great coating of the palate. The sweetness is just kind of covers a large spectrum of, but it's also kind of tending. I think I talked about that when I was talking about batch 3 earlier. Is it kind of the sweetness is not that big, bright, fruity citrus agave flavor. It's more cooked down. The sugars are starting to kind of get almost to where like it's like more like a brown sugar type flavor than like a white sugar, refined sugar flavor. So, interesting. Cleanse the palate here a little bit. I'm gonna go back and forth on these a few times on the palate, just because it can be a little difficult. Wow, the nose on glass 2 is just so different. Much brighter, much more punchy, a little bit of pepper coming through. I'm not getting the bitterness on glass 2 that I was getting when I first tried batch 3. Very nice. I mean, I like both of these on the palate. Probably still give a little bit of the edge to glass 1 just because of that the mouth feels the best on that one so far. Glass 2 might be a little bit more complex. It's got that extra element of the black pepper on there. And a little bit more of like a bright agave flavor sneaking in there. All right, glass number 3 here. Wow. Gotta take another sip. Peppery, a lot of good sweetness. Not getting there's a touch of that bitterness, maybe very subtle. So maybe it's just opened up, or maybe that's not batch 3. They're all really good, man. It's really nitpicking here. I'm gonna let them sit for another minute and give them another taste the other direction. Okay, Tori Hanzo has now figured out that he has batch 1. Excellent. Battle of the High Proofs would be nice. G4 Wild Common Don Polono. Yeah, we're still planning to do high proof blinds of the bottles that we've been doing in the blind series. So we're gonna go back to our first set of bottles. I think it was, what is it, Fortaleza G4, Ocho, Arete, and something else. Was it Tapatio? I don't think it was Tapatio. It was something else in the first round. What the heck was it? Cascanes? No, it wasn't. That was in the second round. It'll come to me later. But anyway, we're gonna go back to those brands. Oh, El Tesoro, and we'll do the high proof blancos of those. Only 4 of them though, because I don't. El Tesoro does not do one. And then the same thing with the second iteration of blinds that we've been doing. So that's our plan. But yeah, there's a lot of cool tequila blinds that we have in store. We got a cool one coming up in probably either next week or the following week. No, it won't be this coming week. It'll either be a week from, 2 weeks out or 3 weeks out. But a lot more in store. Okay, where was I here? Oh, so Heo says most of her stuff is just entry level tequila, easy to drink, like Volcan and Magenta. Oh, you're talking about, yeah, the Magenta discussion from earlier. Matt says getting lot 3 was a fresh crack. How long have lot 1 and 2 been open, and what's the fill level for them? So yeah, great point. And I did mention that at the beginning that lot 3 is going to be at a disadvantage because it was a fresh crack tonight. The other two have been, they're at about the same fill level. They're about, there you can see, about halfway. Lot 1 has been open for 2 years. Lot 2 has been open for a year. So, I mean, roughly. So, yeah, lot 1 has had the most exposure to air for sure. So, but yeah. So take this blind with a grain of salt. Take all blinds with a grain of salt, quite frankly. Okay, where was I? Tony says, silly question, but do you think it's time for G4 to revamp their bottle design like Tequila Ocho just did? I don't mind the bottle shape. They've been working on the labels. I mean, I know they've changed the labeling slightly, I think, for all of them. I just got the new version of the high proof Blanco. It's got a cooler label. I don't know. I kind of like the rustic kind of look it has. It's kind of plain. It's not a lot of frills. I'm kind of ambivalent, but tequila is getting super competitive, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did do something. So Ocho was revamped because of the length of the bottle. Is it that much higher? I got the Ocho here. Actually, yeah, it totally is, huh? Just for comparison's sake. Definitely is a bit taller. Yeah, I mean, the Ocho one looks cool. I think I saw one in a store the other day. I didn't have a problem necessarily with it. It is kind of a bland label. Like the G4 label is definitely better than the Ocho label, but it looks cool. I mean, there's going to be all kinds of crazy things going on with tequila in the coming year. I mean, I think we're going to see more and more special releases, probably more rebranding stuff like what we're just talking about, but time will tell. Okay, I'm going to go back through these in reverse order now, starting with glass number 3 here, which I'm still leaning towards this being batch 3. There's a citrus rind coming onto it fresh like that. It's really coming through. Wow. I mean, it's still nice. I still enjoy sipping that. It's just it's definitely bolder, more challenging, I guess is kind of the word we're using here, maybe. All right. Let's try glass 2 again here. Oh, interesting. I got a slight bitter note there as well. Less peppery. Glass 3 definitely had a bit more pepper on it than glass 2. I think I'm going to go through these one more time in a different order. Intriguing. A little bit less intense than glass 3. Glass 2 is a little bit more mellow. All right, let's go back to glass 1 now. Less pepper and no bitterness on glass 1. So interesting. Very interesting. Okay, I'm still going to stick with my original guessing. I think that still kind of makes sense in my brain. But I'm going to come back and do them one more time. Let my palate sit for another minute and check in here on the chat again. Darth E. Vader says, just got to try Tears. Total butter bomb for me. Helios says Tears is worth every cent. I love Tears. I think it's great. It's a super delicious spirit to drink. You will have plenty of people tell you that it doesn't have enough agave for them to be, what they love in tequila. But I think just if you appreciate spirits, it's hard to taste tears and not just be blown away by it. It's just incredible stuff. Really, it's craftsmanship, but it's a very different approach. It's not about, hey, we got this amazing agave, let's just make a pure expression of it like these Blancos are. It's, all right, we have this distillate. Now, what interesting things can I do by putting it in different barrels and blending it? And it's kind of that mad scientist creative side that, I mean, I know all three of us really appreciate that. We very much appreciate this kind of craftsmanship too, with just the pure expression of agave. But so they're definitely different beasts. But man, yeah, I love tears. It played a big part in really getting me deeper into tequila back in the day. Okay. Well, let's see here. Giovanni says, still sipping on my Don Vicente Repo, about done and gonna move to Dos Angeles Kaido. I can't read. Kaidos Rosa, sorry. I was trying to read, I don't know, I'm trying to read the tiny little text on the side as opposed to the much larger text after I clicked on it. User error is what that's called. But yeah, keep us updated, Giovanni. Let us know how those are as well. And tell me about the Don Vicente, because I still haven't tried that. I have definitely, it's been on my list. Travis in the house says, cheers, Dutch. Cheers back at you, Travis. Frank says, tears versus Ray Sol. Yeah, I need to do that. I finally got a bottle of Ray Sol. It's waiting to have a fresh crack done of it. And it's actually a barrel pick, 10-year barrel pick. So I will definitely do that. And I want to do, we need to get a regular non-barrel pick version of Ray Sol as well, because that would be probably a better comparison, because that's the generally available version. So yeah, definitely something we want to do in the future. Brian says, enjoying Lagrimas Blanco as well as out of, what? As out of G4. Oh, out of G4. Okay, sorry. Wow. That took me way too long to parse. Enjoying Lagrimas Blanco because you're out of G4. I need to make a run to Binny's. Yeah. Enjoy. Giovanni says, I have yet to try tears. I feel like I'm missing out in life. I mean, it's fantastic stuff, but like I said, it's definitely a different experience. Like if I were to try these G4 Maderas and then pour myself some tears, it's a different wheelhouse. It's a different experience. So it's just delicious stuff. You know, I find that tears still retains some agave all the way through. It's obviously not as bold as the Blancos, but it's as these Blancos. But I think it's fantastic. Matt says, I wish I could be doing this with you. I polished off a bottle of Lot 2, only one bottle of Lot 1 wrapped up, and haven't seen 3 as of yet. Loved Lot 2, hits above its 45% with the flavor. Yeah, I loved Lot 2 as well. That was the one where, you know, I had tried Lot 1 and I'd missed out on getting a backup of it. And then when Lot 2 came out, I bought a couple extras because I loved Lot 1 so much. So I've been spending way more time with Lot 2. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. Okay, I'm going to go back into these one more time, and this time I'm going to start with glass number 2 and work my way out. Oh, man. I feel like every time I come back to these with a fresh palate, I'm getting a slightly different experience. And this is something that we talk a lot about at the end of our next video. If you watch after the credits, we spend a bit of time talking about this. And the more of these I've been doing, the more I'm realizing that it is a much more profound effect with tequila versus other spirits that we've done blinds with, you know, like whiskeys and scotches. It happens there too, but the amount, like the delta on the experience having two tequilas side by side, the way they can affect one another it just seems way bigger than with whiskey. I don't know why that is. And it's something that I think we want to play around with a little bit more and just kind of try to figure out, you know, really the best way to do these is kind of like the way I'm doing it now. I'm taking a lot of time, taking time in between coming back to them and things like that. That's really the best way to do it. You know, unfortunately, when we're filming, it's just, we don't have all day to film one blind. Like we got to kind of crank through videos. So we don't have the luxury of time, but we do what we can do. Okay, back to glass 2 here. feel like they're all changing every time I come back to them. Yeah, good mouthfeel. Still not as good as glass one, in my opinion. This one has the most black pepper to me. I should start writing some notes down. So I'd say black pepper, good coating, good finish. The pepper really lingers on this one. Let me take one more sip of it. Make sure that wasn't just an acclamation. Yeah, it's there. The pepper's there. It's not off-putting pepper. It's really nice. It's just it kind of rounds out the sweetness. The sweetness is a little bit subtle. Yeah, it kind of leads with that black pepper, but a really nice coating of the palate. I mean, good stuff. Okay, I think I'm going to go to glass one, and then to glass three, and then I'll venture my final guesses and see what's what, and we can talk a little more about it. Oh yeah, this is just the best nose. It's the most subtle nose, glass one, but I think it's the best one. It's just more luxurious tasting, smelling, and tasting from the past tastes. Still the best mouthfeel. Wow. So weird on the first taste. Now coming off of glass two, I'm getting, I think it's because of the pepperiness in glass two. I'm getting a little bit of bitterness here in glass one. So let me give it another sip and see. This is actually a good example of kind of what happened to us with that other blind. Like we tried this at the end going in different directions. It's really incredible how much it can change the tasting experience. Much less bitter on this second taste. There's still a little touch of it. Man, do I like this one best? See, the finish on this it just lingers with this nice agave sweetness. All right, now I'm going to go to glass three, out of water. Got to back up. Okay, glass three. Yes, I think it's probably the weakest nose. Then again, that's also kind of a sign that this might be batch three as well, because it's the most recently opened one. But it has been sitting for a while, so it should be, All right, let's give it a taste. Yeah, so less pepper on this. A little bit of that citrus rind coming through again. Let me give it a second sip here. Yeah. That's kind of the hallmark of that one. Whereas glass two had the black pepper, glass three has that citrus rind. Slightly bitter citrusy component that you would get like if you bit on the rind of a lime or a lemon or even an orange. It's not quite as sweet as that maybe, but lime rind is kind of where I would put it. It's really not off-putting though. I think it's got kind of the same level of bitter rind as glass two has of black pepper. And when glass one just has maybe slight touches of both of those, but they're kind of balanced. And yeah, so I'm going to stick with my initial guesses, which is that they're in the order that I've been drinking. Glass one is lot one. I think glass two is lot two, and I would guess glass three is lot three. If I had to pick a favorite, I'm probably picking glass one, but I'd be perfectly happy sipping on any of these. But yeah, so let's see how wrong I am. Glass one. That can't be right. I mean, I like that I'm completely wrong. But glass one, my favorite, which I thought was batch one. Is that going to show up? No, but it's lot three. That's kind of mind-blowing. Again, man, that's what I mean, context. Wow. So there you have it. My favorite one is not, there you go. Lot 3. Wow. Wow. I am it's so weird how context affects flavor, guys. I mean, like, you can go back. I mean, like, if I were to go back and look at the beginning of this, when I fresh cracked this, I'm talking about that rind coming through. And compared to the other two, it must just have a lot less of that, or just it's sitting open like this for, you know, how many minutes has this stream been going? 50 minutes could be enough for it to kind of mellow. And like I said, there's still a little touch of that there. Wow. Bizarro world. Okay, let's see if how wrong I. Now I'm thinking these are going to be flipped. I'm thinking that the well, I don't know. I don't care at this point. Let's see. Last two, yeah, it is batch 1. As I was just thinking in my brain, now knowing what that is, these must have been flipped because I remember the citrusy rind. Yeah. So glass 2, the one that had more black pepper, is lot 1. I'm just gonna take these stickers and put them on the glass so I don't spill tequila all over the place trying to show you the sticker. But yeah, they're my, I don't know between these two which one I really liked better. I think I probably liked this one slightly better. It's not going to focus. Oh, there it goes. Lot 1. This one definitely, yeah, had more black pepper and a nice coating. And probably my second favorite nose. Like, it definitely had a pretty, oh man, the coating, yeah, this one had a lot of good things going on. Good coating of the palate. It's so weird. It's just bizarre how coming off of that one now, I'm getting less black pepper than when I had glass 3 first. Glass 2 red is having a lot more black pepper. Bizarre. So yeah, lot 1 was probably my second favorite if I had to say, and then glass 3 obviously is lot 2. More citrusy, more citrus rind, more bitterness. Put that sticker up here. There, so you guys can see that I'm not making it up. I think you guys believe me. Glass 2, lot 2. Glass 3 was lot 2, sorry. That makes sense to me. Yeah, okay, yeah. The citrus rind definitely, out of all of them, this one, I wouldn't say it changed the least. It had my least favorite nose, but the palate did range quite a bit. But definitely the most citrus rind on that one. So, moral of the story, you are not missing out on lot 1 or lot 2 because lot 3 is excellent. They're all excellent. Overall, lot 3 won for me. Mainly, I would say overall, there's a deeper richness to the agave on the nose, and on the palate, it was much more the texture. You know, and this is something I should say as a caveat. Like, I think we talked about this in our last video. Actually, our video about our scoring system that our most recent video. It was I don't remember what we called it. How to score whiskey or tequila. We spent some time talking about how what you prioritize in a spirit over time may change, and mouthfeel for me over the years has become more and more important. And I just felt like the mouthfeel of lot 3 was the best. It just had kind of the most rich coating. The nose was more subtle than the other two, but it was almost warmer, more inviting, and richer, like it had been cooked longer. Yeah, very interesting experience. I obviously was completely wrong. I got them all wrong. And I love it. That's great. It's good news for all of us because there's 12,000 bottles out there of lot 3 that just are hitting shelves now. So if you missed out on the other two, don't feel like you missed out because, pick up lot 3 because it's excellent. Okay. That was really fun. All right, let me check in with the chat. I took a long time there on the last bit there, so. People talking about Ray Soul. Okay, I didn't miss a lot though. Yeah, if you want to try Tears but can't snag Arte Gnome 1146, definitely. That was I know that was something that we talked a lot about in our review of the Arte Gnome 1146. We kind of started calling it Baby Tears, and I think that caught on. That was that's definitely. I mean, they are different, but if you want to really experience how a barrel can affect the tequila, Arte Gnome 1146 is a great experience of that. There's a ton of barrel influence. Oh, Ernie, what's up? Evening, a little late to the party, sipping on Knob Creek 10-year rye. Excellent. Glad you're here, Ernie. All right, Giovanni says, Don Vicente to me is like sipping on a chocolate-covered agave, buttery and coats the mouth beautifully. Interesting. So do you actually get chocolatey notes? Or do you just mean that as far as like the mouthfeel? That's an interesting description. Helio's buying it right now. Yeah, I've been actually holding off on getting a backup because I was like, I got backups of batch 2, but apparently batch 2 is my least favorite now. So maybe I should pick up another bottle of lot 3. It's very good. Yeah. Ralph, what made it your favorite? Yeah, I think I did kind of try to cover that. I mean, really the mouthfeel to me was the best. The richness of the flavors. So what I kind of say, like the depth of the flavors. It didn't have the citrus rind. It didn't have the black pepper. It didn't have as much of those two. But the core agave sweetness was much deeper and richer, in to my palate at least. Yeah, Ishmael says called it lot 3. Yep, you did. You got it. Mac Daddy's here, says sipping on some Highland Park cast strength release 3. Cheers. Unfortunately, I could never get myself to like G4. Always gravitated to Fortaleza, Ocho, and Arete. What am I not appreciating in G4? It's just different. They're all a little different. They've all got their subtleties. It's not like Fortaleza, Ocho, and Arete are bad. They're all excellent. You'll find what you like. I would say though that of all the Blancos I've had, these Madera G4 are probably my favorites. I really like Ocho as well, but I would say G4 Madera and Ocho Blanco. If I'm drinking a Blanco, those are where they're going to be. I mean, that's what I really really love. So Kenneth says, how similar would you say they are? Like 95% the same. They were pretty different. They were more different than I was anticipating. Let me see by an example here. So let me grab the Ocho. I've been drinking this G4 Madera. Let me just see how different this Ocho tastes. So I can kind of have like a spectrum to give you here. It's hard to describe. I mean, it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of like a car analogy or something like you can have like a line of a car, but you can have like 3 different models of that car. Like a 3 Series or something like that. It can be like I don't even know what that. Maybe this is a bad example, but it's like, or 3 different cars with the same engine. It's like they all have the same drivetrain or something like that. They all have the same engine, but this one will sound different. This one will corner better. This one's got a silver suspension, but they're all the same car. It's like if you've driven a particular brand of car, they all may kind of have the same feel when you're driving them, but the 4-cylinder is going to feel different than the 6-cylinder. I don't know. So it's like you can tell they're kind of in the same family, but they definitely had different characteristics. So I don't know, 95% the same? I'd say more like 85, 75. I don't know. But then again, trying that Ocho, and it's a very different spectrum of sweetness. It's just this bright agave, clear sugar, white sugar sweetness, whereas these all were in a very different spectrum. So, tough question, but a good question. I just don't have a good answer for it. Okay. Anthony says, tried El Jorrijo Araqueño last night. I probably completely butchered that. Haven't tried agave spirit before, and it was definitely tasty. Have you tried anything from them? If so, anything you would recommend? Like, I have not tried that, and I cannot help you. I am sorry, but it sounds interesting. And when you use the word agave spirit, do you mean that is not a tequila, because there are things, there are some people growing agave, in the U.S. and selling it as agave spirit, because you can't call it tequila. So let us know. Dorothy Evader says, my go-to for when I don't have Fortaleza is El Tesoro Anejo. Seems like I'm sipping on Tesoro more and more. El Tesoro is fantastic. It's a great bottle. If you've seen our blinds, when we put that up against Fortaleza, I think it pretty much beat it every time. Rolf says, do you think the result would be different if batch 1 and batch 2 were also open today? Curious as to how long they were open. Yeah, those have been open way longer. And I think that's why I'm kind of surprised how well batch 3 did, considering I just opened it today. And based on the way the flavors were hitting me, like, it tasted like it was the one that had been open the longest, because it had that richer mouthfeel, which I feel like can sometimes happen. That can kind of sometimes improve the longer a bottle's open mouthfeel. So that makes me very excited for where batch 3 is going to go, or lot 3 is going to go. I'm actually very surprised. So I definitely think the time open affects them. It possibly could be that batch 1 has been open for 2 years and it's kind of turned a corner. That can happen with spirits. I think it's pretty rare that things get worse the longer they're open, but I have experienced that with things that have been open for too long. And then sometimes I've noticed it with like sherry finished whiskeys, kind of sometimes turning a corner and getting too much of that. Like the sherry flavors just kind of bloom and then the rest of the flavors kind of disappear. That's rare though. I don't think that's the norm. Okay, so back here, chocolate notes on the Don Vicente. Okay, very interesting. I've got to give that a try. Okay, so the brand is a great uncertified mezcal, also Real Minero and La Locura. Okay, cool. There's a ton of stuff we got to try still, so. All right, Vortex says, my bottle of Ocho Añejo tastes like I'm sucking on a popsicle stick. No other flavors detected. Is that normal for an Añejo, or did it just have a weird batch? I would not describe our bottle of Ocho Añejo like that. It could be a weird batch. I can tell you the one that or you can watch our video, our Añejo blind. I think that was our favorite in that, the Ocho. So I don't know, it might have been one of those batches. I recently got a new batch of the Ocho, a brand new one. I can't remember which one it was. I have a picture of it somewhere. I should probably find that just so I tell you guys. But I got a new batch of it. I was on vacation a couple weeks ago, and over that vacation ended up drinking the entire bottle. It was a week, so it wasn't that bad, right? It was the 2023 Potrero Grande, it looks like it says. Yeah, Potrero Grande. And that one was definitely different than, for instance, this is the Mesa Colorado. This is an excellent release, the Mesa Colorado from 2023. That other one, the Paseo Grande, was, did I say that right? Whatever I just said, was very different. Like, not, again, we're talking about in the same wheelhouse of flavors, but it had a bitter component to it. It had a lot more spice. I still killed the bottle, still great, but I would have preferred to be sipping on the Mesa Colorado. So yeah, there can be batch variants in Ocho, for sure. Okay, let's see here. Do you prefer the Madera de Fuenteseca Blanco? That would be an interesting comparison. If I had it right here, I would do it. I don't think I do, though. Actually, hang on. Maybe I do. Nope, I lied. I thought it was right there, but it's not. I'd have to try it again to know. The proof point is better on the G4. The Madera is a 90 proofer. That always gives things an edge. Yeah, I think in a head to head, it'd be tough. It'd be tough because I think they would be very different. It would just be like, what flavor spectrum do you prefer? They're both very good. Okay. All right, we got a lot of comments here. I'm gonna pour my last pour here, so and then I'll catch up on the comments here and move these G4s out of the way. And we're gonna try another bottling from the same distillery, Teralta, Anejo. This is a, like I said, it's out of the same distillery. This, I think the differentiation here is that this is the one that is made with only the deep well water. Because I think, G4 has multiple water sources that they blend. And then for the Teralta, they only use the well water, which, of course, has a big effect on the flavor, what water you're using. And this is the Anejo, 40% alcohol, NOM 1579, same as what we just had. So let me show you guys the bottle. Oh, come on. There we go. Panasonic autofocus is the worst. Although it's apparently better on the new cameras. All right. Let's give this a try. Yeah, so this is a brand. I mean, it's been around, but I've for whatever reason, never tried it. And I saw it the other day and I was like, you know what? That has been on my list for a while. I need to give it a shot. Okay. Let me check in with the chat as we let this sit. Yeah, so Giovanni's got it there. It's another Felipe Camarena product. Delicious stuff. Craig says the Extra Neo 110 proof is amazing. Yeah, I need to get, you know what? I was trying to find a bottle of that. It's just, I'm waiting for them to do another release of it. And then that's why I feel like earlier in the stream, I was talking about how I thought I had read something where they were going to stop producing this or stop exporting it or something. And I could be completely just misremembering what I read because nobody else here seems to remember that. So Vortex says, where on the Ocho bottles can you find the batch? It looks like this Anejo is a single estate, Cerro Grande. Yeah, so it'll say the estate and then it will have the year. So that's all you got, year and then location, basically. So that's essentially how you figure it out. So you have a 20, what is it? So yeah, the year and the estate is what you should look at. The one that we had in our blind, I think I had just seen it. So the one we had was a 2021 La Ladera. So that one won our blind. So Gerald D says 150 meters deep well water. Yeah, so this is all well water. All right, I'm going to scroll back up here. I think I missed a couple comments here. Vortex says just poured some El Tesoro Repo for myself. Nice. Poncho Knives Forever says, yay, you all are awesome. Thanks for the fun educational shows. I hope Dylan is on. His craziness is great. Well, he's not here, but he might be in the chat. I haven't seen him in the chat, but sometimes he'll pop up in the chat. Yeah, nobody else was around, but I was like, it's been too long since we've done a live stream, and I really wanted to open up the G4 because we've been getting questions. I know people were asking on our Discord, people were asking on Instagram. It's been all over Reddit. Is batch 3 any good of the G4 Madera? And I kind of just kept looking at the bottle sitting over there. I'm like, I want to open that on a live stream. And finally had time tonight. Nobody else could come, so I said, screw it. I'm just gonna do it anyway. So glad you're here. Thank you for hanging out with us. Okay. Andrew, what is your go-to domestic and specialty beer? I am totally not a beer guy. I mean, I like beer, and there was a period of time before I kind of got deeper into tequila and whiskey where I was drinking a lot more craft beer and more imports, probably like the Belgian stuff. I really enjoyed, but I've had a few recently. I mean, we got pretty good producers here in San Diego. So I literally last night had Stone. They had their, I don't know, I tried 2 different things. I tried their Golden Stout, which was super interesting. and I had their new one, whatever their seasonal. It was a peanut butter or something, seasonal one. So I'm not a super picky beer drinker. I just, in certain occasions I'll try it, but I don't drink a ton of beer. I always keep Modelo on hand because I like to make pot roast with it. It's a top tip. All right, Schwinn says sipping on Bull on single barrel. Number 20, nice. Matt says Teralta, very nice, cheaper than G4, easier to find, and super comparable. Love 1579. Okay, so you're still talking about your Ocho, huh? That's the agave. Yeah, the bottles of Ocho give a lot of cool info. Schwinn says Teralta is better than G4 in my opinion. Interesting. Putt Putt says drinking some Pasote 1579 Blanco. Love the Camarena family's stuff. They do amazing stuff. They absolutely do. All right, sweet. Cindy says Teralta and G4 are great. To me, really different. Matt X says, did a blind with Teralta XO and G4 X Teralta XA Extra Anejo and G4 Extra Anejo and Teralta 1 was shocked. Interesting. Interesting. All right. Dorothy Vader says, Hitachino from Japan, best beer ever. I used to love, what was it, Ibisu, Japanese beer back in the day. That was one. Yeah, I love Japanese beer too. I'm not a beer snob. I'm the furthest thing from a beer snob. Although I just don't love the super hoppy IPAs. This doesn't float my boat. All right, Pancho says Teralta is better. It's just so earthy. I feel most people who get used to a lot of tequilas gravitate towards tequila flavor profiles that go super forward with one flavor note as time passes. Yeah, some people want that earthiness. Some people want that cheesiness, funkiness. Some people want the bright agave. Some people want the pepper. Yeah, it is interesting. That's definitely true. Craig says the deep well water makes the mouth feel amazing. Lau says just joined. I'm having Tequila Ocho 2023 Potrero Grande. Rare find on Maui. Believe it or not, that is exactly what I literally just showed that bottle, and I was drinking it on Maui earlier this month. So yeah, it's really good, but my point was that it's a very different flavor profile from the Mesa Colorado. So if you are able to find the Mesa Colorado, it's just kind of brighter, cleaner, sweeter almost. The Potrero Grande I found to be more peppery and a little bit more of that citrusy bitterness coming through on it. I mean, I enjoyed the heck out of it though. So glad you found that. It's good stuff for sure. What tequila brand has the best expressions on average? Oof. I mean, if just judging by our blind tastings, I would say, for us, Ocho has done very, very well in the blinds. Siete Leguas has done very, very well. Honestly, I think any of the brands that we featured in our 2 blind series so far are excellent. You really just can't go wrong with any of them. That's a hard question to answer because I think of the quality brands, it more depends on what flavor profile you prefer. They're all putting out pretty good product. Okay. Have you not tried? I have not had a Don Vicente yet. I think we might have a bottle waiting to be opened, but I have not had it. It isn't the most pepper forward. Isn't it the most pepper forward tequila ever? Almost feels like a different kind of intense peppery flavors are expressed. Interesting. That'll be a fun one to try. Okay, this has been sitting for a while now. Let's finally try this Teralta nose. Oh, that's really nice. So, I mean, obviously shifting gears here to an Anejo. So there's definitely some barrel influence here. The agave flavors are not, as bright as you would find in a Blanco. It's Still got a lot of agave. I mean, that's the prominent flavor on the nose is the agave. It's just fantastic nose. I'm not getting like a good tasting note here or a good nosing note. It's just kind of like a cooked rich agave, but it's not particularly loud on the nose. Like it's pretty mellow. It doesn't you don't smell any proof. It doesn't even smell like, I mean, to my jaded palate and nose, like I can't even smell any ethanol. I mean, it's just all nice sweet agave flavors. I'm not getting pepper. It's just a it's a little bit sanded maybe. Like it's very smooth flavors on the nose. I used the bad word smooth. But all right, let me give it a sip. Wow. Hmm. First sip is awesome. Let me give it a second sip. Let my palate kind of acclimate, and I'll give it a second sip and start talking a little more about the flavors. Price I paid for this was $57.99 for the Anejo. I don't know if that's like the normal going price for it. Um, but yeah, I have been keeping an eye out for the high proof extra añejo, the 110 proof, and that's one I definitely want to try. That's kind of a rare thing to find is a high proof extra añejo. You know, I know Ocho has some high proof añejos they put out, but all right, second sip here, and then I'll talk about what I'm getting. Hmm. Oh, it's just great agave sweetness. I mean, there's a little bit of spice up front. It's perfectly balanced though. Like it's not out of proportion. I mean, the agave sweetness is just like this thick chunk of flavor that comes right through on the palate. There's a little bit of that nice bright spiciness on top of it. It's totally not off-putting. If you don't like spicy tequila, this you'd still probably like this. It's just like a little accent, like you put a little pepper on your steak, you know. It's like the perfect amount. The finish is a little bit short. That may be the only place I could knock this. Um, there's still a lot of great cooked agave. There are lingering flavors on the finish, but it definitely, I mean, there's just such a big upfront flavor. There's still big flavors on the mid palate. It stays pretty big even towards the end of the palate, but then as the finish, it really tapers down pretty quickly. But you're left with good flavors. It's not like you don't get any worse flavors coming through. You know, it's not like it's a bad finish. It's just a shorter than I would like because the flavors are so good. I mean, thoroughly enjoyable. Oh, the sweetness. There's a floral component that's coming through now. The upfront flavors are superb. I just think the only place it really suffers is that the flavors drop off. The coating's fine, but it's almost like there's so much richness up front, and everything just kind of tapers off too quickly. Like I want these flavors to last a bit longer. That's a good hit because it means it's got really good flavors. Um, it's just yeah, that's the only place I can really knock it is I want these flavors to last even longer because they're so nice. For 57 bucks, I don't know what else you're gonna buy in an añejo that's gonna, you know, Ocho. It's probably around that price. Um, it's great. Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Um, how would it do in our blinds? Tough to say. The upfront flavors are really big and nice, so it would probably do pretty well. And the fact that my biggest knock on it is the finish, and that's probably the aspect of something in a blind that you'd lose the most. I mean, like you can't really evaluate the finish very well. It's hard to. So, yeah, good stuff. Definitely good stuff. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna be winding down in a little bit here. Is if there's anything else that you guys think would be an interesting comparison for either this or for the Madera that I happen to have up here, throw some Rex out And if I happen to have it, I could do one quick comparo or something. But otherwise, I'm going to check in with the chat and wind things down a little bit. So Vortex says, from what I remember, some of those tequila blinds were decided by razor thin margins too. So there's definitely a lot of good stuff out there. Yeah. I mean, I think they're either decided by a razor thin margin, or they tend to be things where there's like an outlier flavor wise. So for instance, the Don Fulano that we have had in the most recent rounds, it just has a different flavor profile. You know, it has that funky earthiness, the cheesiness. And if you have that next to things that have brighter agave flavors, it stands out even more. But if you're just sitting down and you just open the Don Fulano and you're just going to drink that, it's almost like you don't notice it as much. You notice it, but it's like it reads differently. And when we have that counterpoint of like a bright fruity agave, it can sometimes just be a little more jarring to go to the kind of cheesy, funky note. So yeah, all the brands we've picked have been excellent. The only thing I would say is the Cascanas, you just got to be aware of that cork taint. The rubbery cork taint that has affected some of their bottles is really unfortunate. They've said they've fixed it, so hopefully everything that's out there on the shelf won't have that, because I do think they've got some good flavor in there behind all that. But you know, you're paying a premium, so just, you know, be aware. Okay, Papat says that's about average price. Also, have you tried Lagramas, similar to Ocho, that shows off different estates, and higher proof at 46 out of 1123. So good. Blanco and Repo only. I think we have a bottle. I think it's another one that's not open yet, though. So anyway, I've not had it yet. Daryl says, are we going to get a blind video part 1 versus part 2, top 2 from each video? Yeah, that's the goal. We may actually do a round 3 first, and then do like the top 3 in a follow-up blind or something like that, or if there was like a really strong runner-up in one of them. Or we may do like 4 rounds or 5 rounds and then go back through. But yeah, we got a lot more planned. You know, it just takes us a long time to get content done. I will tell you, since you guys have stuck around for an hour and a half, if anybody's here still, we do have some really cool tequila blinds coming up. I've mentioned the one that's going to be released probably Monday or Tuesday already. It's a special release Blanco blind. I guess I might as well tell you guys what's in it. So we're going to have the G4 Madera. It is lot 2, interestingly, which was probably my 3rd favorite out of the 3. And then we had the Siete Leguas de Cádiz, the Calle 23 Blanco, and the 11 bricks, Casquin 11 bricks. And so we did a blind with those 4. And we also had our buddy, Dr. Oju, who's our tequila guru, participate in that blind. It was super fun. It was super interesting. And like I said, I recommend stick around and early, or at least watch the after the credits discussion that we had, because it was just super interesting. Super interesting. So I won't spoil it. That's coming up next. There's another blind we did that should be maybe in like 2 weeks. It might be back to back with the other tequila. It just depends on if I might sneak a whiskey in there in between the 2 tequila videos. But there's another blind. It is a Blanco blind, but it's a cheap Blanco blind. So we grabbed some low-cost Blancos to put up next to each other. We've got some other tequila reviews coming out as well. And other whiskey stuff coming as well. We actually did a really cool Scotch blind that's going to be coming up. So, but yeah, anyway, to answer Daryl's question, we definitely have a lot of tequila stuff that we want to keep doing. So, okay. Giovanni says Cascana is number 9 or Fortaleza still strength. What, in your opinion, do you think is better? I mean, I'd have to try them side by side, honestly. My instinct is that I would probably slightly prefer the Fortaleza, but I've had a hard time with, like I said, with Cascanas, we have a number of bottles that have that cork taint, and it's a distinct rubbery note that is not very good. If you get a bottle that doesn't have that, though, they do have some good flavors in there. So that's a tough one. I don't know. I would probably say Fortaleza off the top of my head. Now, if it was the original um, Cascanes, it was coming from the other brand, the other distillery that I'm totally blanking on. What's it called? I've got a bottle here. Atanasio. I really like Atanasio. I'd probably gravitate towards that stuff, but I don't know. Okay. Heyo says, I saw that Siete Legos Anejo won a blind in your videos, but when I tried it, it had too much of a woody taste more than any tequila I've tried. Maybe I had a bad bottle. Yeah, I mean, maybe, I mean, and like I said, I mean, I think we were talking about this earlier and it came up in the chat. There's different flavor profiles and it may just line up in one that you don't like as much. And sometimes when you're doing blinds, certain flavor profiles will just pop compared to the other ones. And that may be the case with Siete Leguas, that in a vacuum, it may be too woody for some people, but if you have it side by side with a few other brands, it may really pop and shine. So interesting thing. Pancho says, how do you guys find your bottles? Do you, Jules, and Dylan have some cool liquor store friends for the bottles you'll hunt for? I mean, we go out there and hunt for them like everybody else. I mean, I think we all have a couple of regular spots. I mean, I've got a couple of stores that, I can ask for stuff sometimes. I honestly don't do that very much. Usually I'm seeing what I can find online or what's available at larger stores. Part of what we do is we want to make sure we're experiencing what you guys, what a consumer is experiencing. So like, we don't accept bottles from brands. We don't take freebies. I mean, in very limited circumstances, maybe if there's a specific reason. We've talked about the Cascanes thing before, where they reached out after we kept talking about this rubbery note, and they're like, hey, can we send you some bottles? We've had an issue with cork taint. And they sent us bottles. And the first one we tried was great. There was no cork taint. But then we tried another one later. One of the ones they had sent us had cork taint. And I was like, something's going on here. So anyway, to answer your question, we go out there and buy them. Yeah. Sometimes it's from liquor stores. Sometimes it's from chain stores. I've got, like I said, there's a couple independent places that, I know I've gotten to know the stores a little bit. I have good relationships with them, but I still pay money for them. They don't give me stuff for free. I don't talk about them. We don't hype them up or anything like that. We want to know what it's like to find these things, because that's part of our analysis, is the experience of how hard is this thing to find. Okay. Carlos versus Felipe Camarena. That would be a fun one. Yeah. Okay. Can't wait for the race. Soul. Yeah, that should be fun. What was that? Logan said, Vortex 88, I have a 2020 Cerro Grande, not my favorite batch, but I still like it. Finish can get woody bitter, so I get what you mean by popsicle stick. I do get a lot of agave up front, though. Okay, interesting. Thank you. Do you all think you'll ever do Mexican rums? Maybe. Yeah, that's it. I've been talking a lot about Mexican rum recently for a completely different reason, but yeah, I mean, we're honestly open to trying everything. We love trying all kinds of things. We do brandy and rum and tequila and whiskey and other random things that come our way. I'm sure we'd love to try them. At the same time, we're trying to run a YouTube channel that is completely dependent on getting clicks. So, while we want to try really obscure stuff that, is just fun and interesting, sometimes that doesn't get clicks. And ultimately, the success of a channel is really driven by, do people want to watch this? But we still try to work some of the stuff in that's just interesting that we want to do for the heck of it, or the hell of it. I don't know why I said heck. It was weird. Arate Gran Clase versus Tapatio Excelencia. That's a good question. I don't know. So we did film the Extra Añejo blind of our round 2, which did include the Tapatio. It did not include the Arete, but it had the Tapatio. And did we film that? I think we did. and the Don Polano, the Siete Leguas. Yeah, I think we did. So anyway, you'll have to see that when it comes out. Don Polano High Proof. Yeah, the High Proof Blanco. We do have that as well. Oh, so you guys are saying these to compare to these? Sorry, I'm totally out of it. Let me see what I got over here. So another high proof Blanco or another Anejo. Let me see. What do we got? What were people saying? Don Fulano high proof. I don't think that's here. Tapatio high proof might be. Let me see if that's here. The 110 is not here. Well, yeah, those are not up here, unfortunately. I did find this, the Atanasio Añejo. So I can do a quick, I mean, these are completely different beasts. I don't even think that would be that interesting of a comparison. Oh, Tapatio Añejo. I don't think that's here. Let me check. Yeah, it's not up here. But somebody did ask for this, so maybe I'll just do a real quick compare between these two, huh? What do you guys think? No? G4 Madera versus G4 104. That's a good one. That's on point. And I do have that, so let's do that. That's in line. All right. This is the it's the 108. This is the older bottling, but let me get another glass and we'll do a quick compare. All right, final pour of the night, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out. We'll compare the G4 108 to the Madera. So I think, what is this one? This is batch 2, but there's the most, well, I'll grab batch 1. I guess batch 1 I liked slightly better. So, little palate cleanser here. Yeah, 108. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the 108. They do have a new one. It's got a new label. I actually think it looks better. It's like it's silver. Is that right? I literally just cracked into it. We were filming. We were recording a podcast the other day, and I cracked into that. That may even be the next podcast that comes out. It's just so good. All right, let's give it a quick sniff and a taste here. Let's compare the nose. I mean, obviously with the higher proof, it's just so bright. Oh man, the Madera's just got this other element. It's just a different kind of richness. So I'd say like brighter with the 104 or the 108. The G4 Madera is like darker notes coming through. So like imagine it like, I'm gonna do another music analogy where it's like this has more treble, this has more bass. That's kind of the way. Like this is brighter flavors coming through on the nose. We're just talking nose here, and the Madera's got a little more richness to it. I would probably say I prefer the Madera nose. Of course, this is batch 1. Let me grab batch. Is there any batch 3 left? There's a little bit left. Yeah, it shares a lot of the same characteristics as batch 1, and same thing with batch 2. I'll just stick with batch 1 here. Yeah, I just find the Madera more interesting, honestly. The Blanco, the 108's a little bit brighter. It's very nice, don't get me wrong. But I personally just like the Madera a little bit better. So, all right, palate. Oh, it's great stuff. It's like a cleaner taste, you know, like the regular Blanco just it's almost more drinkable because of that. Like it's just delicious. It's clear. It's like brighter too. It's fruitier a little bit. Mm. Damn, that's good. Okay, and now the Madera. I should take more time between these, but gotta wind this stream down, guys. Sorry. I mean, it's just wow. It really it follows the nose a lot. Like there's more depth to the agave with the Madeira. Like you're getting a broader spectrum of the flavors. With the regular 108, you're kind of getting just that high end, the brighter, the fruitier flavors. With the Madeira, you're getting more of the tastes more cooked. Tastes like you're edging towards the brown sugars. I've talked about that before in the stream as well. You're getting other flavor elements too. That rind that we talked about earlier, that comes through on the Madeira. Doesn't come through really at all on the 108. This is kind of a mood thing. Like if I want to pour something and kind of focus on what I'm drinking, I'm definitely grabbing the Madeira. If I'm like watching a movie or I'm at a party and I just want to have something to sip on while I'm talking to people or something, I might do the 108 just because it's delicious. If I want to focus on it, there's a lot there, but it's also kind of nice in the background. Maybe also the weather, like hotter weather. I think I'd prefer the brighter of the 108. A little bit colder, I'd be reaching for the Madeira. So they're I mean, they are quite different in flavor profile. That's why I think the Madeira has been so intriguing, is just like that wood fermentation, open fermentation. It's so interesting what it does to these flavors. But you can tell that they've been producing this 108. They know what they're doing here. It's absolutely delicious. You know, if I'm making a highball, I'm definitely pouring the 108 in it instead of the Madeira. Like these flavors are great. It's high proof. Mm. Oh, I love them both, but hopefully there's something of value in there. So, all right, gonna check the chat one more time, and then I'm gonna shut things down, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. Please do the Excellencia. Yeah, we may save that for another one. Honestly, that would be fun. And like I said, we did do I just walked over and I did see the bottles. We did do a blind of the round 2, including this Excellencia. I'm pretty sure we did. Sometimes after our filming days, I can't remember what we did. But yeah, we will have more tequila content and head-to-head stuff. So don't worry. Or maybe another live stream. I've actually been thinking about doing more of these kinds of comparison blind streams, because blind streams, did I really just say that? Comparison blinds in live streams, because despite the shortcomings of head-to-head comparisons, they're still a heck of a lot of fun, and they can pull things out of products that you don't always notice without doing a comparison. So all right, I'm going to get through the chat here real quick, and then we're going to shut things down. All right, Travel in My 50s says, heading to Scotland in a couple of weeks. Any suggestions for single malt whiskey to pick up while I'm over there? Prefer something available only in Scotland. There's a lot of brands that are not heavily sold in the US that you could probably find over there. There's a lot of things that will have distillery exclusive products. There's also things that you'll only be able to find in the duty free, for instance, like if you're going through Heathrow or any of the other airports, you will be able to find duty free things. I'll give you a quick tip. It hasn't come out yet, but we did do a Highland Park drink through, a massive Highland Park drink through. It hasn't come out yet, like I said, but one of the duty free ones, one of the export only, the 16 year, I think it's called something ridiculous like Wings of the Eagle or something like that. That was we actually, at the end of it all, really felt like that was a huge value, because you get a lot of interesting components from some of the various releases. And I think in duty free, you'll find it for like £70 in the UK. So it's not crazy expensive or anything like that either. So that's check duty free. I'm a big fan of Lecheg which is not readily available, at least in the US. So I would assume it's probably pretty available in Scotland. And if you want to go to I think it's the Tobermory distillery, that's just been a recent one that I'm super excited about. I just really enjoy it. And I just got the cask strength 9-year that I need to crack into. So if I were going to one, I would see if that's within range. You know, I'm just a huge Highland Park fanboy, so I'd love to go there, even though it's like the furthest away from everything. So, but have a fun time and report back to us. Want to know where you went. Pancho says, y'all keep up your business. I love what y'all do. I really support y'all. I hope y'all make some awesome living from this. Its passion is obvious. Thank you very much. None of us are quitting our day jobs. We want this to remain a hobby. We just are hoping to get to the point where the channel can pay for itself, because right now we still spend a ton of money on this. It's ridiculous. But we are having fun, you know, and we hopefully are relaying some useful information. The new labels really make it easier to differentiate the different expressions. The regular Blanco and the 108 were way too similar for label. Yeah, I think G4 is moving in the right direction with the labeling. I still like the labeling, but the changes they've made have looked pretty good, I think. So, all right, All Day Woody says, do they make barrel-proof tequilas? Yeah. So most brands, or a lot of brands, will do what they call still strength Blancos, like this one. So it's 108 proof. That's usually about as high as tequilas will go. Is there a limit? There might be a limit on the barrel entry proof on tequilas, but yeah, you'll find a lot of still strength Blancos out there. It's harder to find high proof, you know, repos or añejos or extra añejos, but they do exist. Tequila Ocho makes a cask strength añejo single barrel, so they're barrel picks that they do at cask strength. Teralta, which we just had, has a higher proof extra añejo at 110. But yeah, so they're out there. I think we're probably going to be seeing more of them. You know, there's such a big interest in tequila right now, and more whiskey people are getting into tequila. Whiskey people love their high proof cask strength stuff, so I think it's natural that it will come, and it's interesting. So, oh, Mac Daddy, thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate that. That definitely helps us so much. Any whiskey shelf cart ideas? I've watched the channels. As I've watched the channel, my collection has grown, so I've been looking around for stuff to showcase my bottles. Oh, you mean like just like ways to display them? Oh man, that's a good idea. Personally, for me, like what I have in my office is a bookcase, like a big IKEA. It's one of the nicer IKEA ones, and with the glass doors, so you can actually see what's in there. But that's just because I have a ridiculous amount of spirits. You know, nothing beats a good bar shelf. There's some cool carts too. I mean, it just depends on how much stuff you have. Like, you should see what we have. We have like industrial shelving over here. And I think we've maybe posted some videos. It might be only for Patreon that we have some of the videos of the room downstairs that we've been working on that has some kind of just white bookcases with lighting behind it that looks pretty good. But yeah, I don't know, man. IKEA is great because it's cheap, and some of the stuff, depending on how you put it together, can be done pretty well. So I think this stuff's IKEA, just the floating shelves. But I would not use floating shelves. Like, that's the one thing you want to make sure you got sturdy shelves. Dylan actually had like a little cabinet that had glass shelves, and one of them shattered, and he lost some bottles. So buy sturdy stuff. It's worth it. Dorothy Vader, thank you. Yes, everybody, please hit the like button on your way out here. Thank you guys for hanging out. Pancho says, do you all think you have so much experience with the common tequila profile that anything that stands out more in uniqueness you tend to gravitate more towards now? Yeah, I think uniqueness and also that mouthfeel. Like I mentioned a little bit before, is like that's what I gravitate toward these days, is like how well does this coat my palate? Like that really kind of buttery, luxurious mouthfeel is something that I feel like I chase a bit more these days. Giovanni says, Dutch, thank you for your info. Love the channel. Thank you guys for your content. Well, thank you very much for hanging out. Thank you to all you guys for hanging out. Just to close things off here, I want to reiterate something I said at the beginning, which was our last live stream. We did do a giveaway. It was a fundraiser, and I think we had 2 people that never emailed us to claim their winnings at the end of the night. So if you participated in that and you're here, go back, see if your name was called at the end, and if it was, you gotta email us at info@curiositypublic.com if you want to get your prize, and we'll just say within the next week, because I know Super Doggo, I think he's still holding on to the bottles, but we can't wait forever, guys. So if that was you, please send it out. If we don't end up hearing from somebody the next week, we might do something else with those. I don't know. It's up to Super Doggo. But thank you guys for hanging out. Also, keep in mind, if you are a member of Curiosity Private, if you're a patron or a member on YouTube, look out for an invite coming in the next week for our in-person event that's going to be happening in August in Orange County. Should be a fun time. We're going to have a ton of our bottles, like basically whatever people want to try, we're going to bring it. There's probably a few things we're not going to bring because we've got content planned with them, but we're really going to bring a ton of stuff. Just, you'll have an opportunity to try stuff, hang out. We've got to have prizes, raffles, giveaways. We're going to have some food, all kinds of fun stuff. Basically, August 31st from 3 to 6 p.m. So keep your eyes out for the invite if you are on Patreon. And then we will be trying to do it with YouTube members as well. It's just going to be a little tricky because we can't, like, YouTube doesn't give us your email addresses, so we can't send you the invite. So you'll have to request an invite. It's going to be a little bit annoying, but keep your eyes out for that. And then if we still have space, because we are going to be limited on space, if we still have space after we get through all of our members and patrons, we will open it up for anybody. So there may be some space for you if you're not a member. It's going to be totally free. Doesn't cost a thing to come. And we'll have a lot of cool swag and stuff. So, all right, guys, have a good weekend and stay curious.